Welcome to Safe Use of Work Equipment training. At the end of this training, participants will gain knowledge about the safe use of work equipment. By the end of this training, you will be able to identify work equipment, use it correctly, note key considerations, control work equipment, and related information. According to the Regulation on Health and Safety Conditions for the Use of Work Equipment is any machine, tool, facility, or installation used in work, and use covers starting, stopping, transporting, repair, modification, maintenance, commissioning, and cleaning. Exposed person is a person who is wholly or partially located in a hazardous area. Operator is an employee or employees assigned to operate work equipment. Special risk-bearing work equipment are work equipments where hazards cannot be fully controlled by technical measures. By definition, maintenance is all cleaning, adjustment, calibration, and other such procedures performed on work equipment. Periodic inspection means inspection, testing, and examination activities conducted by authorized personnel on work equipment at intervals specified in the regulation. Hazardous area is the area within or around work equipment where risks to health and safety exist for persons. Safety is examined in two stages: safety in design and manufacturing, and safety in use. Safety in design and manufacturing linked to the Machinery Safety Regulation. Safety in use linked to use of work equipment H&S requirements. In Machinery Safety Regulation, CE conformity mark is essential. CE stands for Conformité Européenne, which is French for European conformity. A European Union mark indicating that products covered by the New Approach directives, prepared in accordance with the New Approach policy adopted by the European Union in 1985, comply with these directives and have undergone all necessary conformity assessment procedures. The purpose of the CE conformity mark is that when used as intended, products must not endanger human life and property safety, plant and animal life, the environment, in other words, that the product is safe. There are product groups that requires the CE mark. Here are some examples: low voltage devices, simple pressure vessels, toys, construction materials, electromagnetic compatibility, machinery, personal protective equipment, non-automatic weighing instruments, implantable active medical devices, in vitro diagnostic medical devices, gas-fired appliances, efficiency requirements for hot water boilers. There are some factors that affects machine safety, such as operator training, operations maintenance, machine installation and assembly. The employer shall take all necessary measures to ensure that the work equipment used at the workplace is suitable for the work to be performed and does not endanger the health and safety of workers. When selecting work equipment, the employer shall consider the specific working conditions at the workplace, the health and safety risks involved, and ensure that the use of such equipment does not create an additional hazard. If it is not possible to ensure that the work equipment is completely safe for the health and safety of workers, the employer shall take appropriate measures to minimize the risk. Equipment and tools must undergo regular technical maintenance, and any malfunctions that could pose a health and safety risk to employees must be rectified as soon as possible. Equipment, tools, and especially ventilation systems must be cleaned regularly to ensure appropriate hygiene conditions. To prevent and eliminate risks, safety equipment and tools must undergo periodic maintenance and inspection, and records must be kept. When selecting work equipment, hazards must be considered to ensure that the equipment does not create additional risks during use. If work equipment cannot be made completely safe for the health and safety of workers, appropriate measures must be taken to minimize the risk. Work equipment must be positioned, installed, and used in a manner that poses the least possible risk to the workers using it and to other workers. Instructions should be created using the user manuals for all devices and equipment used to provide services in the workplace or to resolve technical issues within the organization, and these instructions should be posted next to the devices. The results obtained from previous use of the device should be taken into consideration. The manufacturer's information must be known. Any documentation describing the device must not conflict with the safety instructions. Installation procedures must be carried out by authorized personnel. In cases where additional equipment needs to be connected to the device, it must be compatible and designed not to create new risks. When performing maintenance, repair, transportation, and installation of the device, the technical drawings of the device must be strictly followed. Training instructions must be available where required. Mechanical risks are risks that are caused by machinery parts or workpieces. Risks include crushing, cutting/splitting, shearing, entanglement, impact, puncture/penetration, friction/abrasion, and high-pressure fluid spray from parts or workpieces. There are other risks, such as electricity including static, thermal extremes, noise, vibration, radiation ionizing/non-ionizing, hazardous materials pressure, toxic, flammable, explosive, dust, smoke, and neglect of ergonomic principles. The employer shall take necessary measures to ensure that work equipment is maintained in good working order and complies with the minimum requirements during its use. In cases where the safety of the installation conditions of work equipment is affected, shall be inspected by experts after installation, before first use, and after each relocation, it shall be inspected by experts, and a document confirming that it is properly installed and operates safely. Employers shall ensure periodic inspections and tests as required, and it will be conducted by qualified professionals. Inspection results will be documented and stored in a manner accessible to authorized personnel upon request. When work equipment is used outside the workplace, the document regarding the last inspection will be kept with the equipment. Work equipment posing special occupational safety and health risks shall only be used by qualified persons assigned to use such equipment. Repair, modification, inspection, and maintenance shall be carried out by specialists assigned to perform such tasks. The employer shall fully take into account the ergonomic principles regarding the posture and working methods of workers during the use of work equipment. In the implementation of minimum health and safety requirements, the employer shall fully consider the postures and working methods of workers during the use of work equipment, as well as ergonomic principles. Workers are provided with sufficient information and, where appropriate, written instructions regarding the work equipment they use and its use. These instructions are prepared taking into account the user manual provided by the manufacturer with the work equipment. The instructions are kept with the work equipment. This information and written instructions are prepared to include at least the following information: the conditions under which the work equipment must be used, abnormal conditions anticipated in the work equipment, results obtained from previous use of the work equipment, if available. Workers are informed of the hazards posed by work equipment in the workplace or work area that may affect them, even if they do not use the equipment themselves, as well as the hazards arising from any modifications made to the work equipment. This information and written instructions must be simple and easy to understand. Employees responsible for using work equipment shall be provided with adequate training, including information on the risks associated with their use and measures to avoid such risks. Employees shall receive adequate special training on the repair, modification, inspection, and maintenance of work equipment. The employer shall obtain the views of workers or their representatives on the matters specified in this regulation and its annexes and ensure their participation. Control devices shall be clearly visible and recognizable and shall be appropriately marked when necessary. Control devices shall be located outside the hazardous area and their use shall not create an additional hazard. Control devices shall not cause danger in the event of unintended movement. The operator must be able to ensure that no one is present in the hazardous area from the main control position. If this is not possible, an automatic audible and visual warning system will activate before the machine starts operating. The operation of work equipment shall be ensured by the deliberate and intentional use of controls designed for this purpose. This rule does not apply to automatic work equipment during the continuation of its normal operating program or in response to changes in operating conditions. All work equipment shall be equipped with a system capable of completely and safely stopping the equipment. At each workstation, there shall be a control system capable of stopping all or part of the work equipment and ensuring that it remains in a safe condition, depending on the nature of the hazard. The stop systems of work equipment shall have priority over the starting systems. When work equipment or hazardous parts are stopped, the energy that drives them must also be cut off. An emergency stop system shall be provided on work equipment where the nature of the equipment poses a hazard and where the normal stopping time is insufficient. Work equipment posing a risk of flying or falling parts shall be equipped with appropriate safety devices to eliminate such risks. Work equipment posing a hazard of gas, vapor, liquid, or dust emissions shall be equipped with appropriate systems to contain and slash or extract such emissions at the source. If necessary for the health and safety of workers, work equipment and its components shall be secured using appropriate methods. Appropriate protective measures will be taken to prevent the risk of parts of work equipment breaking, detaching, or disintegrating. Where there is a risk of injury from mechanical contact with moving parts of work equipment, the equipment shall be fitted with appropriate guards or protective devices to prevent access to the hazardous area or to stop the moving parts before access is possible. Fixed guard is a guard that cannot be opened or removed without the use of tools. Movable protective device is a protective device connected to the machine via mechanical means and capable of being opened without the use of tools. Adjustable guard is a fixed or movable guard that can be adjusted as a whole or consists of adjustable parts. Interlocked protective device is a protective device that operates in conjunction with an interlocking mechanism, ensuring that the machine stops when the protective device is opened. Controlled protective device is a protective device that prevents dangerous machine functions from operating while the protective device is open, but allows dangerous machine functions to operate when the protective device is closed. Guards must effectively prevent access to hazardous areas, not hinder operation or production, be user-friendly and job-appropriate, integrate with the workstation, avoid excessive maintenance, be sturdy and stable, and not introduce new risks. Work equipment will be adequately illuminated at all working, maintenance, and operational points. Parts of work equipment that are at high or very low temperature shall be protected against contact or risk of contact. Warning devices on work equipment shall be easily detectable and understandable. The equipment shall only be used for work that is appropriate for its design and manufacturing purpose and conditions for which it is intended. Maintenance of work equipment shall only be carried out when the equipment is switched off. If this is not possible, necessary precautions will be taken or maintenance will be performed outside the danger zone. Maintenance-related procedures for work equipment will be recorded in the maintenance log on a daily basis. Equipment and tools that cut off the energy sources of work equipment shall be easily visible and recognizable. Reconnecting the equipment to its energy sources shall not create a hazard for workers. In work equipment, the warning and signaling devices shall be provided to ensure the safety of workers. Appropriate conditions will be provided to ensure that workers can safely reach their production, maintenance, and adjustment areas and work safely there. All work equipment shall be suitable for protecting workers against the risk of the equipment overheating or catching fire, or of the emission of gas, dust, liquid, vapor, or other substances produced, used, or stored from the equipment. All work equipment shall be designed and constructed to prevent the risk of explosion of the equipment or of substances produced, used, or stored in the equipment. All work equipment shall be suitable to protect workers from the risk of direct or indirect contact with electricity. Work equipment with workers on board must be equipped with appropriate systems to minimize all risks to workers, including the risk of the equipment becoming entangled in or coming into contact with wheels or pallets during transportation from one location to another. Where there is a risk of collision or crushing between the towing vehicle and the towed equipment or accessories, or any object being towed as a spare, such equipment shall be fitted with protective devices to prevent collision and crushing. Measures shall be taken to prevent damage or contamination of parts that transmit energy between the moving parts of the work equipment due to contact with the ground. Moving work equipment with workers on it must be designed to prevent overturning under normal operating conditions. The device shall be designed so that it does not rotate more than a quarter 90-degree angle, or, if it can rotate more than a quarter turn, there shall be sufficient clearance around the worker on the equipment or another system providing the same effect. These protective structures may be an integral part of the work equipment. If the work equipment is secured during operation or designed in such a way that it cannot tip over, protective systems are not required. The work equipment must be equipped with a system to prevent workers on the equipment from being crushed between the equipment and the ground in the event of the equipment overturning. Forklifts with one or more workers on board to reduce the risks associated with overturning. A cab must be provided for the driver, or the forklift must be designed to prevent overturning. In the event of the forklift overturning, workers being transported between the ground and the forklift, there must be sufficient space to allow workers being transported to escape safely. The forklift will be designed to prevent the driver from being crushed by the forklift's parts. If self-propelled work equipment poses a risk to persons while in motion, it shall meet the following conditions. The equipment shall be equipped with devices to prevent unauthorized persons from operating it. If the equipment has multiple moving parts operating simultaneously, measures must be taken to minimize the effects of collisions between these parts. The equipment shall be equipped with a braking system capable of stopping it. If safety requirements so dictate, an emergency braking and stopping system that automatically activates in the event of a malfunction or is easily accessible shall also be provided. In ensuring safety, appropriate auxiliary devices will be used to improve visibility when the driver's direct field of vision is insufficient. Work equipment designed for use at night or in dark places shall be equipped with an appropriate lighting system that ensures the safety of workers and enables the work to be carried out safely. If fire extinguishing devices are not available in the immediate vicinity of work equipment that poses a fire hazard to workers or the equipment it carries as a backup, such equipment shall be equipped with sufficient fire extinguishing devices. Remote-controlled work equipment shall automatically stop immediately if it exceeds the control limits. Remote-controlled work equipment shall be protected against collision and crushing hazards under normal conditions. Where this cannot be ensured, the risk of collision shall be controlled by other appropriate means. Work equipment permanently installed for lifting loads shall be sturdy, durable, and resistant to stress that may occur at the lifting points specified for the loads to be lifted. The maximum load that can be lifted shall be clearly marked on machines used for lifting loads. Accessories used for lifting must also be marked to indicate the necessary features for safe use. Work equipment not designed for lifting or transporting people must be clearly marked in a suitable manner to prevent use for any other purpose. Fixed work equipment will reduce the risks of striking workers, dangerously sliding or falling, and unintentional release. Work equipment shall be positioned, installed, and used in such a way as to pose the least possible risk to workers and other personnel. To this end, sufficient clearance shall be maintained between the moving parts of the equipment and any fixed or moving parts in its vicinity, and the safe supply and removal of energy and materials used or produced by the equipment shall be ensured. The installation or dismantling of work equipment shall be carried out under safe conditions, particularly in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions for use. Work equipment where there is a risk of lightning strikes during use shall be protected against the effects of lightning using appropriate means.